first countries in the world to evacuate our nationals, Canadians, out of the West Bank. 21 Canadians were evacuated yesterday. We were also able to evacuate Australians and New Zealanders. When it comes to Gaza, we are in contact with many of our like-minded partners. I was in contact with the G7 this morning, and so this is, of course, a priority. My message to Canadians that are in Tel Aviv and Canadians that are in West Bank: if you want to leave, please contact Global Affairs Canada. If you're given a spot, please take it, because we don't know how long this operation will be able to continue, as the situation is very volatile. If you are in Lebanon, it is now time to leave while commercial flights are available. When it comes to humanitarian aid in Gaza, I was in contact yesterday with many of my counterparts. I was in contact with the Prime Minister of Lebanon, with the Foreign Minister of Egypt again. I've been in contact with my Jordanian counterpart. Later today, I'll be talking to my counterpart from Turkey, and I've been in contact with many of my G7 counterparts, including also with the State Department and the White House. We are working 24/7 on this. Our goal is to make sure that we can help de-escalate the situation, and this is my utmost priority. Just before a second, je vais juste le dire en français, Ramon, comme ça. Okay, so en français.
In French. First, the flights 11 and 12 from Tel Aviv are scheduled today. There were 1,300 people evacuated from Tel Aviv. We were also able to evacuate 21 Canadians from the West Bank. We're one of the first countries able to do so. Now, the operations are continuing, and yesterday we evacuated 21 Canadians, but also able to evacuate Australians and New Zealanders. When it comes to the question of Gaza and the evacuation of Canadians in Gaza, it is a priority. I am in contact with many countries, including Egypt, including Lebanon, Jordan, and different people in the region, and also the G7 earlier today. It is certainly a priority. Now, when it comes to the question of whether you are in Tel Aviv, so if you're in Israel, if you're in the West Bank and you want to leave, please contact Canadian Affairs. If you are given a seat, please take it, because we do not know how long we'll be able to continue the operation. If you're in Lebanon, it is the time to leave. And because right now there are commercial flights that are still available, it's important to take. It is time to leave. There are still commercial flights available, so please take them. When comes the question of whether the region in general, our objective is certainly to be committed on all sides. I've been in contact with my G7 counterparts, the Lebanese Prime Minister. Yesterday, I was in contact with my Egyptian counterpart. I have also spoken to my Jordan counterpart, and later today, I'm speaking to my Turkish counterpart. In short, you can see that our objective is to be very involved to make sure that we prevent a conflict that could spread to the whole region.
I'll start with English. I'll go then to French.
What's the line for Canada between protecting civilians and Israel's right to defend itself with Hamas embedding itself in civilian targets?
Well, so you've heard me on this. First and foremost, we condemn the terrorist attacks by Hamas, and we support Israel's right to defend itself according to international humanitarian law. And we are concerned not only concerned, but I know Canadians are concerned, I share their concern of what's going on in Gaza. I've said it many times, Gaza is one of the worst places to live on earth right now. And so that's why we're really working extremely hard to make sure that there is a humanitarian corridor towards Gaza. And also, we called earlier today different G7 partners to increase their funding to the UN, as we just did, because we need to make sure that humanitarian aid is available first, and second, also given to people.
Is there a chance to get foreign nationals
Do you have
out?
any information on injuries or deaths of Canadians in Gaza? What is the situation there? We understand there have been Canadians who have been trying to leave and who are facing bombings. What are you saying?
The information I have regarding deaths and regarding missing people is the one I provided you beforehand. Now, the information we are getting within Gaza sometimes can be limited. Our mission for the Palestinian Authority is in Ramallah in the West Bank, not in Gaza. There are many diplomats that are in Gaza, but mainly a lot of them are from the UN. That is why I met with the head of the UN in charge of humanitarian aid in Gaza while I was in Amman. Meanwhile, what I can tell you is that the number of Canadians that have reached out to Global Affairs Canada to be helped is around 200. But this number is growing. That being said, we're not the only country having nationals in Gaza. The U.S. has, many European countries, we do, and we're working with them.
Can you
clarify your position? Is what's happening in Gaza, according to your view, a violation of international humanitarian law?
Well, of course, a civilian is a civilian. And therefore, we believe that Israeli civilians and Palestinian civilians are equal. And they need to have access to food, to water, and to fuel.
Without a ceasefire, is it a violation of humanitarian law?
That is why we're very, very engaged in providing that humanitarian access. And we need to make sure that we're in contact with Israeli officials to make sure that international law principles are upheld in this situation.
Vous avez dit en anglais que la situation à Gaza est un des endroits les pires au monde.
The situation in Gaza is one of the worst places in the world. So why this holdback for asking publicly for Israel to open a corridor? Why not condemn Israel? You never do it. Why? I've never heard you say that Israel. I'm telling you, we are asking for a humanitarian corridor. We are committed with different countries to make sure this is the case. So we call Israel, Egypt, all US, G7, Jordan, all countries involved in this major crisis, the most important terrorist attack in the past 50 years, so that civilians are protected. We were one of the first countries, the Western countries, to make sure that's the case, and we'll work day and night to protect civilians.